Hello everyone, my name is Super CLA and welcome back to another tutorial video. Today I'm going to demonstrate to you all a new method for solving mathematical problems. This can also be performed in different classes like Programming, Logic, and Design because that's what I'm taking this semester. So for those who are in Chapter 2 of Programming, Logic, and Design, if you need any accommodations on how to make flowcharts and stuff, this is a video and possibly channel for you. So today I'm going to demonstrate to you how to utilize flowcharts. Flowcharts are charts that can help you, well, think of it as math. Like, think that you're given a basic equation like 2 plus 4 is 6, or 5 plus 5 is 10, etc, etc, etc. But for utilizing flowcharts, it's a lot different. And of course, it is, well, if you're new to flowcharts, if you've seen how people have performed flowcharts, you will see that it's simple to do, but the way to input the data inside, well, speaking of input, that's what I'll be talking about in a tutorial video on flowcharts. Well, if you input the stuff in the shapes like the oval, the square, the parallelograms, then it may be laborious for you to do because you want to get the stuff solved post-haste. Well, not basically post-haste per se, but think of it as coding, for instance. Like, you want this to do that and the other. So for those who think coding is very laborious, when it comes to flowcharts, it's actually simple because there is a software that is required for you to utilize flowcharts to solve mathematical problems. And of course make statistical calculations like how much do you have left based on your payment and stuff, how much do you owe the bank. So in this video I'm going to demonstrate to you how to use flowcharts. Here we go. Okay, so you're probably wondering what this is called. This is called Raptor. It's very synthesized and of course fundamental. Well, you may find fundamental understatement, but it's actually simple to use. Now the first time I used this program, it was a little laborious to figure out what to do in order to solve the equation that I have for my Programming, Logic, and Design class. But after seeing tutorials on how to perform the method on how to make flowcharts, it's much simple to do, even though for those who are new to this program, it's very laborious to figure out. So if you have a class that requires you to make flowcharts, and if you need to get the software, I'm going to add the link of the Raptor flowchart composing software in the description below. Sorry to be so thorough on words. I've been utilizing a ton of big words, like most people know, needless to point that out. But if you need the software, the link's in the description down below. Make sure you head to the link and of course check out the stuff that it has. And just click on the link and download, and boom, you got the app. Alright, so this is what you use to make flowcharts. Now as you can see, this is the main interface. You have two ovals, start and end. You also have the task buttons like save, open, new document, compile together, etc, etc, etc. Alright, so you see that we got the symbols. Now what does they mean, you might ask? Well, that's a good question. The assignment is the solving action. The call, well, I never tried that. I guess it's to refer to a different symbol. I don't know. I haven't got to that yet. The only thing I'm familiar with so far are the assignments, the input, and the output. Now these are very important because you want to utilize these to solve an equation with the flowchart. Alright, so for starters, let's say that we have 10 apples. You have a first group that's red and the other group that's green, and they're both delicious, needless to point that out. Okay, so the idea is to separate them. Before starting with the flowchart, you have to come with a very excellent plot. A plot that can fully help you understand what to enter, what symbols you need to enter to solve the equation utilizing the flowchart. Okay, so first things first, we're going to have to start off with something that the plot symbol. So we're going to go with input. You can just simply click on the gap between start and end oval, or you can just simply click, hold, and drag it between the gap of start and end, and it inserts that parallelogram of input in there. But before that, you have to save your work. Now this prompts you to save your work before you can start with the flowchart assignment. So I'm going to save it as sample because, well, I was working on this earlier, and as a replacement because, well, I was working on this earlier on how to do it with payments, and of course it's very simple to use. Once you get used to this tutorial on how to make flowcharts with Raptor, you'll see what to do from that point on. Alright, so we got the first input parallelogram. So we're going to either double click on the parallelogram, or we're going to click on the parallelogram, highlight it, and click on edit at the top, and then click on edit section, or just press F2 hotkey. I'm going to click on edit section since I'm there. I'm going to say selection, not section, I'm sorry. Okay, so once you go to enter input, this is for input. Now for the other symbols, once you go to them, it'll tell you what to do differently. So for this one, we're going to do the input. Now we're going to do another input because, well, I've already thought of a plot, and of course we're trying to figure out what to do. Then comes the assignment. We'll get to that in just a moment. So for enter input, we're going to enter both the prompt and of course enter variable. Now prompt, we're saying enter, well, we'll tell them the story, like the plots. Alright, so as I mentioned, we have 10 apples in total, so we're going to, now here's the thing, if you type in the prompt without any functional signs, it's not going to carry out correctly and it will not be applied as an input. So this is what I mean by that. So we're going to type in enter the total amount of apples, and then we're going to, well, not use a colon, but alright, so once you just type this prompt in, it's just the actual prompt itself. Now for variable, we want the code name. So since we're focusing on the code words for the prompt is total apples, so we're going to type in total in lowercase. That is the mathematical term that must be lowercase, or yeah, or a different term. Total, it can be anything just as long as you apply it in the right way. If you are taking programming logic and design, we're going to type total in lowercase, and we're going to type in apples in uppercase, not the whole word uppercase, but the beginning of the word. Alright, so we got total apples. Now this is what happens when you don't apply the correct code sign for the prompt. So this is what happens when you click done. It says ID is unexpected, enter the total amount of apples. And to do that, we will have to type the prompt in quotation marks. Now that's very important. It's extremely significant in order to carry out the input. So we're going to click done. Is it showing? Hold on. Let's see. There we go. Now once you enter the input correctly, it shows what you have as a prompt, and it says get total apples. Now this is the objective type of input. Other than just calling it plot input, this is the objective input. Alright, so once you do that, we want to apply the next plots, otherwise known as the goal plots, the goal input. So we're going to add another input between the first input and the end oval, add it right there. Then we're going to edit that section, selection, and we're going to enter the prompt as, so now the objective here that I want to do is separate different color apples. So we're separating from red from green. Alright, to do that, for this input, we're going to type in quotation marks, enter total amount of apples separated. And once you do that, we're going to go down here and type in the variable total separated. Alright, so once we do that, now for the first input, you can either type in total amount or total apples. So we're going to do total apples. Well, if it's too confusing, you can use total amount. That's probably what I'm going to do after I get done setting this input up for you guys. So this is the code for the second input. So we're going to add that there as an input. We're going to make changes. Now you can make changes to the variable. It's not going to affect the whole entire flowchart. You just have to apply the correct code for it. So we change total apples to total amount. Well then too, since we're doing the well, we can do total apples, I'm sorry. You can use any code word possible, but you have to make sure it fits the whole entire story. So we got the two inputs done. Now we're going to apply the function, and by function that's the assignment symbol. So we're going to click and apply the assignment symbol between the second input and in oval. I'm going to add it right there, and then we're going to type in the function that we're trying to do. Now for these two, this is set into. For set, in other words, it's called the equal sign. Like, yes, equal. Like the total amount. Like when you saw the problem, it equals to the set. In the to section, you have the two things you're trying to compare, contrast, etc., etc., etc. Alright, so since we're doing this, we're going to type in, since we're trying to compare, well, both group are apples. That's one thing, needless to say. But the difference is they're different colors, and there are 5 of them that are different colors. They're different from each other. So for set, we're going to apply different apples. That's the code name for set. Now for to, we're going to add the first two inputs. Total apples minus total separated. Now once you do that, click done, and it's going to show the function that we're trying to do in order to solve the problem. But we're not done yet. we still gotta do the output because, like I said at the beginning, both input and output are important because even though you got the input and of course the assignment, we're not finished yet. It's not going to, you might think that it's going to be set to that. Once we apply the conclusion statement, that's the outputs. So we're going to apply the two outputs. Since I got two inputs, we're going to apply them down here, and we're going to use part of the first input to tell you guys what is the total amount, what is the difference, etc, etc, etc. Alright, so for this one, since we found a difference, we're going to type in quotation marks and we're going to type in the total amount of apples is, then add a colon, then quotation marks, then add a space, plus sign, space, total apples. Then click done or press enter when you're finished. Then we're going to go down here and adjust the second one, and we're going to type in quotations, total amount of apples separated. Well, I don't mean to say total, I meant to say amount of apples separated. So we're going to do amount of apples separated. Then close quotation marks, space, plus sign, space, total separated. Now what this does, it helps you, once you apply the correct stuff in the output and input, it helps you carry out the problem. Well, for output, it helps you give people the summary of how much has been separated or stuff like that. Whatever function you're trying to do mathematically. So we're going to click done, and once you get the flowchart set up, this is the flowchart right here. Get started. We got the two inputs, we got the assignment, we got the output, and we got the end. So what we can do next is go ahead and test out the flowchart to see if you have everything set up correctly. So to do that, we're going to either go and edit and click, well, not edit, but I'm sorry. We're going to go right here, execute to completion, or you can go to run, execute completion. So we're going to go ahead and test it out. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so as you can see, it shows this window right here, input the total amount of apples. The total amount we have is 10. Remember, 10. Type in 10. And the total amount of apples that have been separated, and by that we mean 10 minus 5 in other words. So we're going to type in 5. And once you do that, it should go ahead and solve the problem for us, and of course give us the summary in the master console and of course the watch window. So let's click OK. And as you can see, the master console pulls up and it shows the total amount of apples is 10. Amount of apples separated is 5. You want to make sure you have them spaced out. So remember that, guys. I'll show you guys on the next flowchart I'm about to make for you guys, just to give you the general just to help you guys fully understand how to make the flowcharts. So there's a summary for this one. So without further ado, I will go ahead and show you how I did mine regarding payments. Here we go. Okay, so as you just saw, I performed the second flowchart regarding payments, and of course, it worked out very well. That's what I've been working on this morning because I wanted to get the feel on how to make flowcharts with Raptor, and of course, perform when it comes to doing payments, like as you just saw on the second flowchart that I did for you. So if you are having trouble utilizing the flowchart composer, you can just watch this video just to get the general feel of it in order to do other flowcharts. Now, I'm not certain about, like I said, I'm not certain about the other symbols yet, like the call out or the loops, etc, etc, etc. But like I said, if you are required to utilize Raptor to make flowcharts for your classes, make sure you head to the description down below to get your Raptor software and of course make your own flowcharts and stuff. If you're having trouble making the flowcharts, you can always refer to this video. You can always watch this video again if you're having trouble making the flowcharts. And I believe that it's going to be it for my tutorial video. I hope you guys enjoyed it to the fullest. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button because it really keeps me going. Now, for those in my college, if you're watching this video, you don't have to listen to the whole entire outro. You can just subscribe if you want more tutorials. But for my fans on YouTube, if you are new to the channel, just subscribe for more content. Make sure to follow my social media. Also, join me on Twitch, where I live stream on Fridays, Saturdays, and of course on the holidays. If you want to join my community, in the description below. And do not forget to share because care. Make sure to comment below and favorite. There are more videos to come soon. This is Super Reploid CLE. Love you guys to the fullest, and I'll see you Reploids in the next video. If you haven't already, please make sure to click the bell symbol located by the subscriber count. Just one click away, and boom! Hi there Reploids, this is Super Reploid CLE. Wanted to take the time to say thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, and if you want more content, please subscribe. Don't forget to follow my social media for more updates, and in case you missed it, please check out my previous video or any video displayed, and please give tons of love and support. I look forward to seeing you at the Utopia, my dear Reploids.